Andrew, thank you for having us today at Industry City.
Great to have you, Max.
So tell us a little bit about the origin story. How did Industry City take root and bloom?
Sure. I usually put it in the context of three massive industrial campuses along the Brooklyn waterfront. The Brooklyn Navy Yard just to the north, the Brooklyn Army Terminal just to the south, and Industry City right in the middle. Combined 14 million square feet of space, 120,000 people came to work every day in 1950. But then manufacturing started to go away. Large-scale warehouse industrial development started to go away. People started to leave the city. You fast forward to the 1990s, that same 14 million square feet of space, only 5,000 people came to work. And there was massive deferred maintenance on these campuses. Two of them had been built by the federal government and are now owned by the city of New York. And what's really exciting that's happened to the Brooklyn Navy Yard and the Brooklyn Army Terminal over the last 10 years is tremendous public investment has leveraged private investments, things like Steiner Studios and other great private sector players that have really shown how the innovation economy is taking off in New York City, that broad range of making a physical, a digital, or an engineered product. What attracted me to Industry City was 5 years ago, some private developers led by Jamestown and Belvedere Capital decided that for the first time, the private sector would take on an industrial, commercial, adaptive reuse project of this scale without any public subsidy and without any housing in it at all as sort of the economic leverage. That innovation economy driver in New York City was robust enough that they would take the risk to bring these buildings back to life for essentially their original industrial commercial purpose.
What has been the biggest challenge in all the years that you've been at this?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look around and you get a sense of scale. I mean, it's 16 buildings on 35 acres. When we started in 2013, there was $350 million of deferred maintenance, 17,000 windows that needed to get replaced, 144 elevators, only 12 of which were automated, only 50 of which worked. An electrical system, distribution system that hadn't been touched in 100 years. So prioritizing those basic infrastructure investments at the same time as you're signing up new tenancies and bringing them in and aggressively marketing the project, that's been the biggest challenge, and getting that balance right of doing infrastructure work, leasing, doing more infrastructure work, leasing, that's been the biggest challenge.
How did you get those tenants? What was your sales pitch?
Well, very early on, we knew there was an opportunity to create a really interesting ecosystem here around, again, the innovation economy. So whether it was tech or design or fashion or architecture, all with some limited levels of manufacturing and then some just pure manufacturing companies. It was the kind of community that we were trying to create, connecting these companies to each other to help with business to business, creating amazing amenities, 5 acres of open space, beautiful courtyards, creating a portal that allows all the tenants to talk to each other. Not every landlord does that. And then adding on top of that something really unique, which was a broad set of workforce and job placement initiatives to connect the local community to these jobs as they came to Industry City.
Now, it seems that food is an important factor in that, right? How did you curate that? The food?
Yeah, I mean, early on, when I got here 5 years ago, there wasn't a single place to eat. By the end of this summer, there will be 25 different food outlets, some of which are commissary kitchens that both do retail and some of which are pure food retail. And so creating a culture of particularly artisanal and locally made food at the base of the buildings with windows on to seeing it, because people want to see what's getting made. They like the authenticity of that. And being able to just come down into these courtyards and into our food hall and grab some amazing locally made food was a huge part of the strategy.
I imagine that Japanese Village will play a part in that. Can you tell us a little bit about that project?
Yeah, that's a really exciting project that's going to open up later this summer. So think Italy meets Japanese food, and that's Japanese Village. There'll be a range of different restaurants and bars within it, and then a grocery where people can pick up food at lunchtime or pick up food and go home. We think it'll add a real dynamism. We're super excited about that. We're also excited that later this year, Hometown Barbecue will be expanding for the first time out of Red Hook, really the city's best barbecue, and they'll have commissary space and event space here. And also that the iconic iconic food store, Sahadi's, will be opening up later this year, early next year.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure seeing you today.
Thanks, Max.